Hey everyone, it's Ben and Jen with It's Who We Are podcast again, and today we are going to be talking about BEEPS. So BEEPS means behaviours, experiences, events, people, and substances. So, Mum, you want to start talking about what
Yeah,
all that
okay.
stuff means?
Yep. So we talked a little bit about it last week, and we said that we'd come back and talk about it a bit more in depth this week. And these beeps are things that we use as a substitute for real joy. Gives us the same feeling as joy, but it's a fake feeling.
And it's not very long.
No,
It's not long lasting.
Yeah. And as Ben said, stands for behaviours, experiences, events, peoples, and substances. And some of the things that we can use, and we do use, is these beeps of sports, TV, computers, games, movies, shopping, drugs, alcohol, sex, food, anything that distracts us from real relationships and real joy. So we actually end up attaching to these things instead of attaching to other people and to God.
And it never lasts long, does it? It's more like you need something new all the time.
Yeah.
I notice it.
Yeah.
In other people, for sure. And probably in myself to a little bit of a certain extent as well. Yeah.
I was going to say, have you had any experiences of, like using beeps before you, like you real joy?
I don't know. What mine would probably be is, this is just off the top of my head, but thinking about it in like the way that the reason I lived my life in Thailand was like when we were building the house and everything like that. It was something that gave me purpose. And I don't know, it just felt good to be able to say that I'm the one doing everything and I don't need anybody's help. And yeah, it's I think it's making things for me. And it makes me feel a lot of accomplishment and feel, not that it's a bad thing, but it's just for that reason, like I like doing stuff like that and doing big things and and then when it's over, you sort of have nothing to do and no reason. So I didn't drugs and alcohol and none of that stuff, and I didn't really have things because I never have any money to buy things. So, but I could see that becoming easily a thing for me if I like things, and yeah, it could happen if I had money. I could see that things could be one of my beeps for sure.
Yeah. So you're saying maybe work and experiences were the things that.
Yeah, well, I like the idea of people thinking that thinking about that people would think that I was something special because of what I'd done.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that's probably it. I've done a lot of things in my life, and done a lot of good things. Good things like that people think that you're good for doing, and that it seemed to mean a lot to me when I was younger. I'm doing it. Oh, I'm sure people would think think that I'm good if I do this, and a lot of the things that I did when I was younger, not even for people really, but sometimes I thought that I had to do them for God and for whatever reason. But yeah, it was things that I did. I would say that's it.
Yeah.
Because that's in there, behaviours and experiences, isn't it?
So, definitely. Yeah. I think for me, definitely a big one for me my whole life has been food. So, like if I was having a bad day or a bad time, I just go eat, whatever I wanted to eat, whenever I ate it. I know I definitely use that. And also, like having a glass of wine just sort of makes everything feel better. But as Ben said, just for that very, very short period of time.
Yeah. Food is if almost straight away you feel bad about doing it.
Yeah.
It's not yeah. It's not a good thing. Like when you're like, oh, I could eat a bar of chocolate, and then you do and you feel like rubbish.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And another thing that is really noticeable too is if an individual loses their joy, that impacts their whole community, whether that's their family or their workplace or their small group, their church, house church, whatever. So, if we lose joy, it can impact the whole community and their joy levels decrease as well.
Yeah, because we model, right? We all model to each other.
Yeah.
It was funny, I was talking about this morning on a Church 101, but how important modelling is, and it can go the other way too if we model negative things, and that's going to be what gets passed on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So our brains are actually designed to attach to something. So we can have good attachment or we can have bad attachment. And when we have a good attachment, dopamine's released, and that leads to real joy when we know that we're loved and we're valued, we're cared for, and we can just chill and, take it easy. But poor attachments need something else to release that dopamine. It's not the relationship you have with the people in your community. You have to attach to some of those things that we were just talking about above. And as Ben has said a couple of times, it's a quick fix.
Yeah.
And we actually attach to these beeps. So that helps us get through the hard feelings that we're having or the hard time that we're having. And they can actually really easily turn to addictions.
Yeah.
So it sort of gives you a bit more understanding of how addictions happen too.
One thing that I noticed in Australia is, I always noticed it really clearly when we came back from Thailand, is that people were sort of so addicted to things, and like you see the way that people live and the things that they buy. And I think a lot of people in Australia is having stuff and maybe their house and that sort of thing.
And I sort of feel like busyness is a big one too.
Yeah.
Like our culture, honours busyness. And, like if you feel like you're not busy or you're resting, well, people look upon you as lazy. But, that's another big distraction, just being busy all the time.
Yeah, definitely
not
is.
having time to rest, But the good thing in all this, as we've said in the last couple of videos as well, like there's always hope in these situations because our brain is so amazing that we can retrain it at any age. It doesn't matter how old we are or how young we are. And we can retrain it to attach to real joy and not the fake joys, not the beeps.
Yeah.
And as we keep going through this series of podcasts, we'll be able to learn skills that give us real and lasting joy. Yeah.
And how do we define joy? I think we talked about it before.
Yeah.
But glad to be with each other no matter what. And that is real joy. Like I said, I had a group this morning online, and it's just like two people. Oh, they're all Americans and people from Idaho and California, and it's our second time together, and we just it's like a real relationship.
Yeah.
Like you actually get to share and tell each other what's really happening and pray for each other and look after each other and listen to Jesus together, and it's pretty awesome. That's what real joy is.
Yeah. So you're saying even after just meeting each other for 2 times, you can see those relationships and those bonds starting to form already. Yeah.
It's so crazy how that stuff happens.
And even online, not even face to face.
I find it easier online sometimes, face to face. I don't know. It's maybe it's just because the people that we are getting in contact with are ready to go. They want this, but in real life, people it's a lot harder to find the people that really want it. Yeah. Because they're probably stuck inside of the beeps.
Yeah.
They're stuck in things and they don't put value on relationships.
Yeah.
So
even in our society, I've noticed the difference between living in Thailand and living in Australia. Culturally, people are more community and family focused over there because they've all lived in small villages and that's your life. And, there's every day people outside, standing around talking together or sitting together eating meals. Whereas in our culture, it's become, all right, I'm going to work. I get home at 5 o'clock. I'm going into my house and I don't want to see anyone or, do anything until I come out again tomorrow morning.
It's like the relationships are only there because, if it adds value to your life. Even though real relationships add value to each other's lives altogether. But that's one of the things that I hated about Thailand at first is people just dropping in. And they were really at my parents-in-law's house, it was really frustrating because it was just in a village and just people would just walk in off the street and there was no sort of privacy. I hated it so much. And I don't think, I still wouldn't like that, but I don't, but there is good parts about that, how they can just walk into each other's houses and spend time with each other. And
they know each other too. They know all about each other, not always in a positive way.
And it was only because I was sort of on the outside, I was new, but for them it was fine.
But
I would be okay with it here if people just did that.
I would love it if people would just, drop in at the drop of a hat. Yeah. So that's all about beeps. And they'll probably come up again
Yeah.
as time goes on. So,
It's something interesting to think about.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
All right, then. We'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.